Here we go. The stream is going. All right, so I need to go post the stream link real quick. I'm doing that right now. Don't think a ton of people have gotten here into chat yet, so that should buy me some time. There's no like preview screen when I do it like this myself. Um, all right, there we go. All right, the tweet is out.
All right.
Welcome everyone. So let's see. I see we've got four people in here right now. I guess I'll explain and then I'll explain again once everyone is kind of filed in. But as you can see, it's just me here right now. But we have Dylan on the phone, ready to go. I remember we did this after the Anaheim game, so we're gonna do this again. Yep. So
is it me or is it the ghost of the new apartment? Ooh.
So scary. Yeah. That'd be
scary as the Kraken blowing a game in the third period.
Yep. I mean, at least that we're a little used to here. I don't know, a ghost in this apartment with your voice. Actually, that might be pretty fun. But don't know. But anyway, here we are after another kind of frustrating game. The Kraken again trail 2-0. Again, come back to tie the game, but again, cannot finish it. But as Chad is pointing out here, no Emerald City therapy needed tonight because this is a Jonas Donskoy dance party. And I said this after his goal, whatever happens in the next 18 minutes, this game is a success because Jonas Donskoy scored a goal.
He did, and it was a nice goal too, He just collected it, shot it, good things happened. Like, we've been waiting for that all year. We've seen him get so unlucky so many times. And so for it to finally find its way through all that traffic and past the goalie, it was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad it was on a really pretty goal. We were talking about kind of the few ways that we wouldn't want it to happen, on something really ugly, but it was a pretty goal, and it was one that kind of jump-started a little comeback there. So, I think great for him, and that's got to be good for his confidence going forward.
Yeah, no, the timing can't really be understated. I mean, 42 seconds into a third period that you're entering down 2 with really not a lot of signs of life offensively, or, I don't know what they were exactly on the power play at that point. They might have been 0 for 5 on the power play at that point. Like, they were just struggling so much in this game offensively. And so for him to get the goal that early on, just, it clearly helped them out. You could see a visible difference in their offense after that.
For sure, it's not easy to come down from 2-0, come from down 2-0 in the third. But if anything was going to give them that kind of jolt that they needed, I mean, that was it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so turning to chat, Michael pointing out McCann's so close. Yeah, at the end there, I actually never got to see a replay of it because I was kind of setting all this up and getting ready to go. But man, that looked really close. Dylan, did you get to see a replay?
I didn't get to see a replay either. I was getting ready as well. But no, it's just story of this game, story of the last couple games, right? Really, the two things are got to figure out a way to score on the power play. Got to figure out a way to get the puck on net. Like, it's incredible. The Kraken have like twice as many shots as they have shots on goal, just because they all seem to go high and wide.
Yeah, exactly. That was a problem for them again tonight. Sergeant Pickles, it matters not, dear friends. Donskoy has ascended. Tied. Donskoy. Reading ID again, pointing out the Donskoy dance party. Greg C., heavy sigh, fix the damn power play, scrap it and try new systems. I mean, what we were talking about, special teams was absolutely the difference in this one. And as I said, I think kind of in the last post game and again, middle of this game, the power play is just looking like early this season where it's just out of ideas, it's slow, it's stagnant, they've got nothing.
Yeah, and guys don't even look excited to be out there. Like, when was the last time you saw guys as disinterested as the Kraken seemed on the power play? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that doesn't happen on the power play. Like, that's what gets guys fired up. You're going to go out there and you're going to score. But they just know that they're not going to score. And not only that, Brad Marchand's going to have, 3 minutes total of offensive zone time on the PK, apparently.
Yeah, the shorthanded chances against were a newer development here tonight and not a good one.
No, really, really not. They got to figure that one out. Because again, it's one thing if you're not going to be scoring, but you can't be so dejected and so low energy that you're going to just allow the other team to kind of manhandle you like that and get in on your goalie. Another good performance from Drieger, though.
Yeah, overall, yes, that third one I know he wants back, but overall a very good performance from him.
Yeah, that last one was a tough one, but they happen.
Yeah. Michael here, Bruins Twitter is insufferable. We're calling for a suspension for Gord.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
I mean, for one, they're Boston fans, so like, did we expect anything else?
I was gonna say, welcome to Boston sports here. It's what you're gonna get. You got to know it comes with the territory. Don't take it too personally because this is just how they are. But yeah, we'll talk about the Gord hit a little bit more later too because I also had some thoughts on that. But yeah, Brian, no puck luck, frowny face. Yeah, and that's been one of the stories of the season.
That's Kraken hockey, baby.
Yep, throwing that out there. Yep, Striatic's comment there. Michael, if you look closer at the replay, Gord adjusts and hits only the very edge of Vakanainen's left shoulder. I agree with Nick Gismondi, not a penalty. Okay, well, I guess we're getting into it right now. Okay. Yes, Vakanainen puts himself in, not a very good position, and that's why his face ends up going into the glass there. But if you follow through with that hit at all, it is boarding, and it's right between the shoulders. It's not the edge of the shoulder. He does push between the shoulders. It is absolutely textbook boarding. It's one of those where, sometimes there was a major penalty called on the play. I don't think it rises to that level, and you get a lot of debate on kind of similar hits like this about whether it's a major or not. But absolutely, it is boarding. That's getting called boarding every single time. I gotta say, not the biggest fan of some of Nick Gismondi's takes this season on the intermission report. I think we got to be very careful about. We don't want to be necessarily homers to the level that some of these Boston fans are. We don't want that to be where we're at. And I think it's important to keep that in mind. So that's my take, Dylan. I mean, what do you say?
Yeah, we texted about it a little bit. I agree. It is boarding. Like, there's just no way around that. Yeah, obviously, Gord is not trying to do that. He's trying to avoid it, being squarely between the shoulders. But the bottom line is, it was that way. Boston player puts himself in that situation. But again, it's one of those things, like, if I go to play the puck kind of high and I high stick somebody, it's high sticking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if I try not to, it's one of those things. It's just cut and dry. Now, I have a question for you, RJ, because It very much seemed like the reason that they were calling it a major was strictly so that they could review it.
I think so too, and that's with the new rule where you can do that. I think that's probably actually the right way to go about it, because it affords you that opportunity now where you're not going to necessarily have to make a major call. It's definitely boarding. There's no, there's no guesswork on that, but you only get to see it once if you're the official. And, you're just basically affording yourself the opportunity to see it some more times to see if there was some malicious intent. They looked at it, decided pretty clearly, I think there wasn't. It was, no malicious intent there. They make the minor call and they get it exactly right. So I have no problem with any of that.
No, I thought that is, they used it perfectly. I think that's a good thing that the NHL has put into place, that they can do that, that they have an ability to go to replay in a situation like this. I think that's very beneficial. It helps get calls right. I think that's, it's what led to this. It didn't seem like they were going to call anything at first, and I know then when they said major, everybody freaked out, but I don't think that they ever intended on it being a major. I think they strictly did it for this reason. I think the only way you could maybe improve on it in this specific situation is anytime somebody is injured, you automatically go to replay. That way you don't have to call a major and get both fan bases all riled up only to, lessen it once you can actually get a look at it. But otherwise, I like this. I think anytime we can get more replay involved to make sure we're getting calls right, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, certainly for a call of such consequence there, like a major. Now, Sergeant Pickles, they played their butts off, and it was a shame to not at least get a point, but to lose by one in a hard-fought game against a top contender on the road, no shame in this. And I've got to agree with that. I mean, I think, it was a great effort, by the Kraken, especially not to give up after going down 2-0. That's one where easily you kind of let things unravel, but they didn't. And looking at the overall picture, like, again, if the team played this way from the start of the season, and was getting involved in these close games like that, they would have a lot more wins. They'd be in the playoff picture. I think there's nothing wrong with how they're playing right now.
No, other than special teams.
Yeah, that was exactly. Yep.
Tonight.
Yep.
Got to stay out of the box, and then obviously the power play. We could just go on forever on that.
Yeah.
But outside of special teams, I agree. Goaltending has come back around. For the most part, team defense has been there. There were some issues tonight. When it comes to that, we could talk about. Really, it's interesting. I'm looking at the time on ice right now. Kraken essentially had 3 defensemen tonight, and then a couple people in there just to give them some breathers. Interesting from Hackstall, but otherwise, yeah. I mean, this is the team we thought we were going to see. I know that's been like the theme of the last 2 weeks, is us saying that, but it's true.
And it's good to keep being able to say that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Lindsay, hey guys, bummer that they couldn't get it done, but Donskoy's first goal of the season, February 1st, 2022. Yes, a date we will all remember fondly. Getting off the schneid there, so happy for Donskoy. Autumn, almost a perfect game, Donskoy goal, Kraken comeback, secured the L. That's Kraken hockey, baby.
That's right.
Yep, you said it all. Get checked off all the checklist. Brian, thank God we're not in the Eastern Conference. Hate seeing Marchand, lol. Yeah, he's not fun to play against, for sure.
No, but you know what? Damn, is that guy good?
I know, and that's, you got to hand it to him at some point. He's just so skilled and such a pest, and just good at what he does.
Yeah, it's just, it is what it is. Any comments on the other big story going into this game?
Oh, on the flurries.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was hoping we'd get to that. I haven't seen. I was kind of looking through chat to see if anyone's mentioned that yet. Here is Sergeant Pickles just now. Can we get a breakdown from Dylan the D Wizard for how the Flurry Bros performed?
All right. So I thought the first period was pretty rough for Kale. I felt like he was mostly just getting his sea legs, getting used to the speed of the NHL game, just acclimating himself to it all. There was some miscues. You and I were texting back and forth about, like, there was a couple times where they were just ending up in the same corner together, and just like, what's going on? Other times where it maybe just seemed like he was a step slow processing things. That being said, he rebounded amazingly to come out to the second period, because I was really not expecting a whole lot from him at that point. I was just like, okay, here we go. He's just, this game's just going to be one we're going to have to burn just to get him used to the NHL. But he really stepped it up from then on out for the rest of the game. Now, didn't play a ton, only played 10 and a half minutes tonight, so not a huge sample size. And his brother, not much more, only 14 minutes. They really leaned on Giordano, Larson, and Dunn in this one. I'm also surprised I didn't see Lauzon out there more. Considering the context of it all. But I was pretty impressed with Cale Fleury. I thought he helped out offensively. He has good instincts as far as helping to keep it in the zone. Like to see him maybe get more aggressive when shooting. He has a similar shot to his brother. I've stated many times I like the shot that his brother has. I like to see him kind of do what his brother does, which is come more into the offensive zone, drift down a little bit lower when he has the puck and he has the time and space to do that, and then just kind of let one rip and go for it. But other than that, I think I was pleasantly surprised by Cale Fleury.
Yeah, overall, I've got to agree. I mean, those first couple shifts with the Hayden and Cale Fleury D pair were pretty darn rough. And Hackstall, to his credit, I think Hackstall deserves some credit there, broke that up right away. Got them on different pairs. I think they were just getting in their head a little bit playing together. And then eventually put them back together, and they played better. I think you just, sometimes you need to, settle a guy down, talk to him a little bit. And go give him a chance to redeem himself. And I think Cale did that tonight.
Yeah, he looked good, and it'll be interesting to see if we see him tomorrow.
Yep. Sergeant Pickles, I do declare, Emerald City Finnish death metal mosh pit. And the Finland flag emoji. That's great. Dylan would feel at home there, I think.
Very much so, very much so.
Hunter, power play was dreadful again. Can't even score a 5-on-3. Hackstall's job needs to be called into question after the season. Dreadful tactics, special teams, and player management this season. I think the power play absolutely is as bad as you're saying. Like that needs to be fixed. Overall, I think we're seeing things start to trend in the right direction, which is a good reflection on Hackstall. But yeah, the second half of the season is going to tell us a lot.
Yeah, and certainly this whole power play thing, because it's not new. This isn't like, oh, okay, we're 40 plus games into the season. Teams have kind of figured out what we're doing. Now it's time to try something new. No, we're 40 plus games into the season, and we've only had, 10 games where the power play has looked lethal, maybe 15. Mm-hmm. And then other than that, add 5 or 10 more on there where it was average. But you're still talking about over half of the season with just a horrible power play, like league worst looking power play. And at some point, yes, that's on the whole coaching staff. Your special teams coach, your power play coach, and of course the head coach, just because you're overseeing it all. I think Hackstall's done a good job of putting out a lot of fires that developed this season, whether it be, COVID, injuries, the goaltending carousel, and then the goaltending that has been ridiculously bad up until fairly recently, and then just getting all these guys together, being like, all right, we got a week before preseason, and then 2 weeks after that, the season starts, and nobody knows each other's names. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I think Hackstall's done a very good job in a very tough situation, but yes, the longer things like this whole power play thing is a sticking point, it's harder and harder to defend him overall, because that one issue is, A, so bad, and B, has lingered so long that it kind of just undoes everything else good that he has been doing and working on to improve with this team. So, I mean, it is one of those things. Certainly, if it finishes this way over the course of a season, it's like, yes, okay, if you manage to fix everything, why couldn't you fix this?
Yep, agreed. And it's one of those things, obviously, to look at going forward, because it is costing them games at this point.
Oh, 1,000%. Now that the goaltending's back, it's the thing that's costing them games, because their penalty kill is not great. It's okay, but it's not great. And the fact that you're 0 for 6 tonight with a 5-on-3, there is nothing you can say about that excuses it.
Yeah, in a 1-goal game, that's everything.
Mm-hmm.
All right, reading ID. It's rich for the Bruins to call murder on a mostly clean play after the Taylor Hall McKinnon incident. Yeah, I mean, you'd think that
several other incidents throughout the years.
Yeah, exactly. Sergeant Pickles, for real though, was impressed by Driegs. He deserved better. Done with another strong game, and Yanni trying to will us to victory. Yeah, I think those are the 3 guys all had good games. Glad that we're seeing the recognition for Drieger here. I know after that last goal that was kind of soft, it could be tempting to kind of pile on him, but I'm glad it doesn't seem like everyone's doing that.
No, because, I mean, the fact that they got out of that first period with it being 0-0 is all because of him.
Yeah, exactly.
He had to stand on his head quite a few times early on in this game, and I think that kind of helped set the tone for them that it wasn't going to be a disastrous night from then on out for them. We talked a little bit about the Fleury pairing, right? Like, both Fleuries, those were a little rough out there, but he was able to help cover up for that. And ultimately, that's what we've been wanting, our goaltenders to do this season, is just help out the team when they need it. It's just unfortunate that the offense, and especially the power play, can't help out the goaltenders.
Yeah, agreed. And more people talking about the power play here. Well, Michael saying, man, the PK needs some work. Lindsay, the PK and the power play are lethargic. I don't even get excited when we get a power play. It feels like there's no chance a goal is going in. I mean, special teams overall just kind of need some work.
What's interesting is, like, the PK was really good not that long ago. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and really through a lot of the season, it felt like it was manageable and it was okay. Like, I'm trying to think about what has changed other than just the team overall has kind of gone through these issues where they just don't have energy. Like, I really feel like that was part of the PK's problem tonight, was just they just didn't have any energy. There was no sense of urgency at stopping Boston just doing whatever they wanted with the puck and just moving it around and giving Pasternak, 1,000, years to just sit there and pick his shot.
Exactly. It takes some effort there to go and stop the thing that they keep feeding. You just got to actually go out there and do it. It's
Yeah.
something it's easy to notice tactically.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's because, the PK, especially more recently, has had some shakeups, like personnel-wise, as we've seen, Donskoy scratched for a game here. You've had other guys coming in and out the lineup, Yarncroak and stuff. You know what I mean? I wonder how much of that is that it just kind of disrupted maybe the chemistry they had going. But ultimately, I think I just wonder if some of the power play struggle stuff is just starting to bleed into it, just from like a dejected standpoint.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, Sergeant Pickles, kind of getting on the energy front. I don't know how they summon this juice week in, week out, but the jump in energy and effort right after the Donnie goal was so noticeable. It really was, and that's kind of where you see the whole, before after type of thing when they are motivated.
Yeah, and certainly given the context of that goal for Donskoy, I mean, I was like ready to just jump up and down screaming, the equivalent of the Giants won the pennant, the Giants won the pennant. You know what I mean? Like, it was just
Yep.
so like, oh my gosh, we get a goal. Oh my gosh, it was Donskoy. Oh, and then like the context hits you and you're just like, I don't know, I seized up for a second because it was just so much. But it was, you can tell, A, just having a goal in that situation, and then B, having it come from him, somebody that, it seems like anyway, the locker room really likes and respects and enjoys having around. And you got to think everybody had been feeling for him during this streak.
Yeah, for sure. Brian here, welcome, Brian. 5-on-5, we can hang. Now, both goaltenders, we can hang. Giving the other team the idea it's okay to be overly aggressive because who cares if we give up a power play to Seattle? That is not okay. And I'm so glad you brought that up, Brian, because we talk about the power play needing to be better. That's another effect of having a poor power play is that other teams can play aggressive, they can play to the edge of the rules. They can do little things to kind of take advantage of that. And knowing that if they take a penalty, it's not a big deal because the Kraken aren't going to score. In a lot of ways, it's dangerous for your team to have a really bad power play because it lets other teams do certain things, whether it's doing an extra grab or hold or hook or whatever it is. That they might get away with it some of the time, or it goes all the way up to dangerous hits where players won't think as much about it if they know that they're probably not going to get scored on if a penalty gets called.
Right, and especially in this game, you can see that just in the amount of interference penalties the Bruins were taking.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like they were willingly saying, "Hey, look, if we take this interference penalty to stop them 5-on-5, because that's where they're giving us trouble." We know that not only is that going to stop them for that one play, it's going to set them back 2 minutes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was just, the difference. It's incredible. I don't even know what to say anymore about how much worse they look on a power play than 5-on-5. I've never seen this before. I have no frame of reference for it. I have no comparison for it at all.
I do, but
okay, yeah, all right. I guess you got some, but that's really what this game was about. Was Boston was just like, yeah, we're going to do this because that's our equivalent of slowing the game down and keeping them from doing what they want to be doing. It's by sending them to the power play. Unbelievable.
Yep. Oh boy. Lindsay though, hey, at least we aren't the Devils tonight, losing 7-1 against the Leafs. Woof. Yeah, the Devils are a bit of a mess right now. Yeah, that was a rough game.
When aren't they?
Yeah, it's been so long since been about a decade really, since they haven't been. So, Striatic, I was hoping with Drieger proposing to his girlfriend in Boston and the Donato clan being in attendance that the game would have a happier ending for them. But I bet they all had nice days today anyway. Yeah, congrats to Chris Drieger getting engaged. That was really nice for him doing that in Boston. It seemed like he did that in a cool spot, proposing, and good for him to get the start too. Right after. Yeah, awesome for him, and yeah, I'm sure you just got to be so happy, in your personal life and everything with that going on. I'm sure he's had a good day overall.
I mean, I would certainly hope so.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, the big thing that stood out to me with all that was also just that this was finally his 10th start. We're 45 games into the season?
Yeah, that's a lot later in than we thought we'd see Drieger's 10th start.
No, for sure. So just happy that he's, also back happy and healthy.
Yep.
It's big.
Agreed. Michael, Mason Appleton has looked pretty solid over the last several games, for sure. And he's someone we've been talking about, the last, 7, 8, 9 games, as playing better. And, the goals, the points are coming for him now. And he's just going to all the right spots, like that tip and everything. Great showing from Appleton.
Yeah, I almost wonder why he hasn't seen any power play time.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, nothing else is working. He's someone who we thought we might see on the second unit power play before the season. Yeah, I think
because I'm looking at like the power play time on ice, and obviously you have guys like Eberle, McCann over 6 minutes, Eberle almost 7 minutes, but then you've got like Calle Yarncroke 6.5 minutes. I know he'd been hot for a little while, but also like maybe spread some of those minutes around. You got Wenberg for 4:11. He's not going to shoot the puck out there. Right now you need somebody who's going to shoot the puck. You don't need him just holding onto it by that half board for 30 seconds at a time. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think that's one thing that they can try before they really break everything down systematically and try to reinvent the wheel. Maybe just change who you've got out there.
Yeah, I would support that. I mean, Lindsay seems to agree. Appleton is definitely impressing me more and more. I wasn't his biggest fan earlier in the season, but I'm ready to hop aboard the Apple train. Choo-choo. That's pretty good. Let's see. Stratic, the Kraken made some odd decisions with the empty net. A weird aborted dump and chase, and then rushing to blindly send the puck into the slot with a fair amount of time left. Maybe fatigue? I mean, those situations can get pretty chaotic by their nature. And they certainly didn't have real time to kind of set up and get what they wanted to get going.
No, but again, it's kind of like the same thing as the power play. It's like those are the times you're supposed to be in charge.
Yeah, with the extra man.
We've seen that from other teams when they've pulled their goalie, right, and we're holding on by a thread. Like, there's no reason we can't be doing that to other teams.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean that's another area that maybe could use some work. Maybe with practicing the power play that gets better as well. Let's see, reading ID. This game had a ridiculous number of wholesome narratives between Baby Donato, Flurry Fam, Drieg's engagement, Donskoy's goal. Yeah. Lots of feel-good stories tonight. Lots of cool narratives. Stratic, Baby Donato's face looks exactly like grown-up Donato's face. You could definitely tell it's the same person.
Yes, you would know for sure. It was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, there was a ton of positive things to think about this game. Certainly going into it, and then the Donskoy goal during it and stuff. It is a shame. Like I don't even think that necessarily the loss kind of takes away from that so much as just some of how it happened, like the power play. Like if the power play isn't 0 for 6 tonight, I think just the whole tenor of everything is maybe even a little bit more upbeat than it has been.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, I think that's kind of where we're at. Donato was so excited. Donato was so excited for Donskoy's goal. I feel the Donnies are fully bonded now. It's definitely becoming a thing. I mean, they're on the same line. They even do the that little joke video with each other. I don't know. I see some chemistry there.
Yeah, I like it. They complement each other well, play style wise too, right? You have the power forward in Donato, who's going to drive to the net and all that stuff. And then as we saw tonight with Donskoy's goal, right? He's one of those guys who he'll take a shot. I remember you talking about this before the season even started. He's one of those guys, he'll take a shot that most people won't take. He's created that way. If he just senses that, maybe no one's paying attention right now, I'm going to try to take advantage of that, he'll go for it. So by having someone who's a little bit more of a wrecking ball like Donato out there with someone who can take advantage of that in Donskoy, they could definitely, keep this thing going.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian, almost at the bottom of the league. Shane Wright, here we come. I mean, I guess that's the silver lining to losing these games in regulation. If you're on the Shane train, This does help with that.
It does.
Yeah, Stratic, the Canadians are so bad. I think there's no way over a full season anyone is behind them. They're basically not an NHL team. I mean, with the injuries and the guys that they're missing, they're basically not.
No, they really are. I was shocked the other day when we kind of like dug into that and realized just how many games they had lost due to injury. Yeah, who knows? That being said, the lottery, you just never know in this league.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could have 0 wins theoretically, and you still only get like a 25% chance at the first overall pick. It's the lottery is really what decides it. So, Sergeant Pickles, any notes on injury updates? I know there's only 1 game left until the break, but not having Alexiak or Soucy is more noticeable late in games now. So, injury updates. We know Carson Kuhlman was placed on IR today. We don't know exactly the severity. Obviously, it's an upper body injury. I think we all kind of saw what happened. And the fact that he was placed on IR so quickly probably hints that it's as bad as it looked. Let's see.
It has to be like a 2-week minimum.
Yeah.
Given what it was and how quick they handled that.
Yeah, so don't expect him back soon. Alexiak, still a mystery. I mean, it's the lower body injury, that was non-COVID illness. Haven't really gotten an update on that aside from lower body day-to-day. He's been day-to-day for a while now. I don't know. And then Soucy, of course, being week to week, and that was a pretty recent update. So don't expect him back soon, just because we saw the was leg, knee, whatever injury. So yeah, he's week to week, and until we see him again, I don't think we can count on him coming back soon. Is there anyone I missed?
Oregon, I guess.
Oregon, yeah, he's in COVID protocol. We know how that works. 5 days minimum, and then we'll see. After that, how he's feeling.
If only the Kraken had been holding 10 defensemen this whole time.
I know it. Of course, they're actually having to dip into some of these AHL defensemen. They've got probably more just pure defense depth than any team in the league, and of course, it's still being burned through and more.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yep. Michael thought Cale Fleury looked solid out there in the second and third periods. His skating and willingness to jump in offensively was good to see. Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about Fleury earlier, and that he had a good bounce back after maybe a rough first period.
Yeah, and it's one of those, to borrow the phrases from the Cincinnati Bengals kicker Pearson, that great stud over there. He doesn't know what he doesn't know yet. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't been burned by anything really at the NHL level, so he's going to go ahead and try some things. And that might be what this Kraken team needs sometimes. Overall, maybe not, doesn't end up positive more often than negative, but I think right now, I think that it would be fine for this Kraken team if he starts doing that.
Yeah, certainly at this juncture of the season. I see you maybe looking ahead, a little ahead in chat. Michael, also the friggin' Bengals can get to the Super Bowl the year after a 4-win season. The Kraken can still make the playoffs next year. Yeah, anything is possible. The Bengals showing us that. Lindsay, oh yeah, I forgot to say it earlier, but congrats to Dylan for the Bengals making it to the Super Bowl. I'm not even mad that they beat my Chiefs. Kansas City played an awful second half and didn't deserve to win. I'll be rooting for the Bengals to win it all. Year of the Tiger, baby. Also, happy Lunar New Year all.
Yes, happy Lunar New Year. It is Year of the Tiger. It is fun how that stuff works out. That was a crazy second half. Glad the Bengals were able to pull it out, and thanks for that, Lindsay.
Yep. Congrats to the Bengals. I already admitted I was wrong on the podcast, so I will leave it at that. But Stratic, Seattle is behind the Bengals all the way. Everyone hates the Rams. Yeah, I got to think the Bengals are pretty popular in Seattle for the game coming up.
Yeah. It's going to be a good one, too.
Yeah, so all of Seattle is with
Joe
you.
Burrow can survive.
Yeah, good luck to him there. Reading ID, I enjoyed the podcast this week, and I hope we see Ron Francis making those smart trades this summer. Counterpoint, every player is dear to me. You can't have them. Yes, that is one of the struggles of being a sports fan is, sometimes you've got to give to get. sometimes, it makes sense for players to move on, but yeah, the attachments are certainly there, and I think we'll all have kind of a soft spot for these original Kraken, wherever they end up going.
I mean, especially when you look at least the healthy forwards right now, and only 4 of them are under contract for next year.
Yep. Yeah,
that's not a lot.
Nope,
so
it's not. So
there's going to be some turnover.
Yep. Let's see, Cameron, how many days off do we have with the All-Star break? Let's see. So it's 3rd, 4th, 5th. Is it from the 3rd to the 9th their next game?
Yeah. It's from Thursday on.
Okay, so for Thursday on, I believe that's 6 days. So yeah, that'll be the All-Star break, and that'll help the Kraken out quite a bit with only Eberle going to the All-Star game. Everyone else should be able to get rested.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, anyway.
In theory, yeah. Sergeant Pickles, got to go, everyone, but still a great game, and I expect a special edition pod to commemorate the Skoy Wonder.
I mean, I've got some ideas for stuff. We'll definitely figure something out.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. You better believe we're going to cover that on the podcast, and thank you for coming by, Sergeant Pickles. Let's see. Ty, we could trade Geo now. That would be fine, lol. I mean, maybe wait until we get 1 or 2 of these defensemen back from injury or COVID.
It might be a little bit of a recipe for disaster if we went ahead and did that.
All due respect to Connor Carrick, but you don't want to keep getting much further down than him in the organizational depth chart.
No.
Let's see. Kraken Hawk. Hey guys, great breakdown on Francis on the deep dive. I think we'll be fine with him. Thank you. Yeah, no, I think we really enjoyed doing that, kind of taking a deeper look at Ron Francis, his history with the Hurricanes, and kind of what that might mean for the Kraken. Anyone, if you haven't listened to the podcast yet, that's what we went over this week. We really kind of did a deep dive into that. I think, we uncovered some pretty good takeaways there. So go give that a listen if you have the chance.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we alluded to, but maybe didn't quite drive home enough, at least when it came to the draft section, when we were talking about how he go after star potential, later on talk about with the trades and stuff, did he learn lessons from Carolina? I do think, looking back at this past draft, that he learned his lessons from those 4 drafts in Carolina. With just this first Kraken draft of kind of going more for the star potential kind of guy, the person he believes has that difference maker, edge to them. I think that we saw that this year from the Kraken draft, and so I do think that, while maybe some of those drafts in Carolina were a little bit underwhelming from, a higher end standpoint, especially with a lot of those top picks, I don't know that we're going to see that, continue to be the case here.
Yeah, I think this year's draft did look pretty different than the ones we were going over from Carolina, so I think that's a good sign. Let's see, reading ID. Ty, okay, agree there. He never wanted to leave Calgary. Let's just keep Nathan Bastioning and Vitek Vanacek'ing if we're going to trade. Yeah, I mean, that makes it easy in some sense. I guess the team that they were taken from probably wants them back if it hasn't been too long.
That is true. It's going to be an interesting trade deadline, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to covering it and kind of seeing what Ron Francis can do.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we haven't talked about too much, like we've talked about, okay, obviously the Kraken at this point are sellers, is really who else is going to be a seller. Obviously,
right.
You have Arizona, but they did a lot of their selling this past offseason. Montreal, are they really in a position to sell anybody? They don't have anybody. Everybody's been hurt all year.
Schwartz the only guy, yeah.
Yeah, Ottawa, they don't want to sell anybody. They're still trying to finish this rebuild thing. New Jersey, kind of in a similar spot. Buffalo, similar spot. You're really looking at places like Philadelphia, maybe the Islanders if they decide to blow that up. So the Kraken might not have a ton of competition come trade deadline, despite there being a lot of teams that are clearly out of it.
Yeah, overall, I think if Ron Francis is really willing to embrace that, the market could be beneficial for him. Stratic, have to admit, I came out of the deep dive thinking less of Francis as a GM. What a great podcast episode, though. Might be my fave yet. Thank you, Striatic. Glad you enjoyed the podcast there. Thanks for the kind words. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where I think you could probably, have multiple people listening to the deep dive there and coming away with, with different takes and kind of how they feel about Francis. It's definitely, kind of a mixed bag as far as what we looked at.
Right. I mean, like we said, there's kind of nothing really great you can say about the drafts per se, other than maybe he's learned from them, which is still significant. And then when it comes to the trades, again, he was in kind of these middling, tough situations. They weren't total clear, okay, let's fire sell or let's be buyers at the deadline, right? He was always kind of hovering around mediocrity with that Hurricanes team, and I know that's not a great, reflection of him either, right? That they kept being in that situation, but things seem a little more clear in Seattle, and just like with the draft where we've already seen him be a little bit more aggressive, I really think this offseason he's going to, kick it up a notch.
Yeah, agreed. He really should. All right, we've got Brian with the super chat, supporting ECH merch and Patreon services. Love the show. Thank you so much, Brian. I mean, you've been just so supportive of us, from day one, and I love your giveaway idea there with your jersey. Gonna get someone some ECH merch. I thought that was awesome. Dylan and I saw that in the morning. I texted him about it. How cool that is. And we're both really interested to see who you pick for the jersey. I know Dylan has an idea. I have an idea, but we don't know, and we'll be interested to see who it ends up being.
Yes, we've made our predictions privately, and I'm definitely excited for it. And thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Let's see. And Estratic saying it's tied for his favorite, tied with the Seattle Metropolitans mini doc, maybe. That was a good one that you did there, Dylan. So
yeah.
Yep. Let's see. Ty, Gio's urgency drives me crazy. The last couple minutes, he's just chilling in the Z zone, looking around. Lol.
He played a lot of hockey tonight. And,
he did.
And as you get older, that gets harder and harder. I don't know. There's not much I can say. Again, talking earlier briefly, right, about maybe let's spread some of the power play time wealth. That might be a good place to start. Giordano having 6.5 minutes on the power play tonight.
Oh my gosh.
Cale Fleury had more power play time tonight than Adam Larson.
I know you've been on the Larson to the power play unit train, all season. I'm with you, and certainly, with Gio there, it's not like the power play was doing well or working. I mean, there's all the reason in the world to kind of change something up, even if it's just giving Vince Dunn some more time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying we've seen now multiple goals from Larson stepping up recently, and a lot of assists from Larson too, including tonight, where he was getting aggressive and trying to make plays offensively. There's no reason that would stop if you put him on the power play. That's all I'm saying. Yep.
No, I mean, you make a good point. Let's see. Stratic, reminding everyone to like the stream. Thank you. Rock Todd would not wait up until the last minute to trade with potential injuries. Congrats to Dylan's Bengals. Yeah, I mean, that is something we noticed, if you listen to the podcast, Rod Francis, has kind of gotten out ahead of the trade deadline in past years. And I think that's a fine thing to do, as long as you have the deal that you want there. You do risk potential injuries by waiting right up to the last minute. And then, your asset, can be worth nothing depending on how bad the injury is. So yeah, I think that'd be a fine thing to do, certainly, given where they're at this season.
Yeah, and not only that, as I was talking about earlier, right now you don't have a ton of obvious competition in the, everybody's available market. The longer you wait, the more other teams start looking at their situation. Maybe they lose a couple more games and they make the decision, okay, we're going to start selling too. And all of a sudden the marketplace becomes more and more crowded. So you also benefit by being a little bit more aggressive early on, just by taking advantage of maybe less teams being involved.
Yeah, certainly. Time could be of the essence there. Tanner asking, any updates on Schwartz's hand injury? So I think the last update we got was that he was having surgery on his hand. That was a little while ago. I know it was a 2 to 4 week. No, it was a 4 to 6 week timeline. Sorry,
Yeah.
4 to
Yeah,
6
4
week
to 6.
timeline. I think we're what, 3 weeks into that.
Yeah, I was gonna say we seem about halfway through that now.
So yeah, we'll keep an eye on him, for when he comes back, but not quite yet.
Yeah, my guess is we'll probably know something more once they get back to Seattle post All-Star break.
Exactly.
Like those first practices and everything, I think that's when you're gonna start seeing maybe him be more involved with the team and whatnot.
Agreed.
I don't know in what capacity, obviously, but I think you'll start seeing him around and stuff again.
Yeah, agreed. I think we'll start seeing him around, and of course I'll be there, on top of everything, reporting what I see. So, Brian, gonna do the reveal. Will be a blast to support. Just follow me on Twitter, folks, and put your jersey guess in the thread. Yeah, absolutely, everyone. I mean, that's kind of the giveaway he's doing. So go follow Brian on Twitter. I believe that is it's Kraken at Kraken Caniac. And then put your jersey guess in the thread with the comments, and someone who guesses it right is going to get some ECH merch. So a really cool thing that Brian's doing there.
Yep, I've seen a couple guesses that align with mine.
Same. Reading ID, and even if Gio is on the power play, why is he the one taking the shots? Drives me crazy. Yeah.
I don't know, but one of the other things I guess we could talk about is, or at least I'll mention it, is we kind of saw Boston take a similar approach to the PK as the Rangers did in the last game. You know what I mean? We saw lots of traffic up front, lots of shots blocked. They felt they played very passively. They were willing to let the Kraken just hold on to the puck and not really do anything.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was kind of their strategy there, and it was working. Ty agreeing with Dylan. Got to get that Lars energy on the power play. Yep. JMG. Yeah.
There.
Huh?
Got to get the V-neck out there.
Yep. Wear it during the power play. JMG. Edmonton waived Cuckoo. Would Kraken have interest in picking him up? Being that he's a defenseman, probably not. They have enough on the roster. They would just have to waive him soon after once guys get healthy.
Yeah. That being said, I mean maybe. Well. Probably not. I was going to say, maybe he could help out on the power play right now. But yeah, I mean, overall, it would, you just lose him a couple weeks from now, which, the Kraken have done before. It's not unheard of.
Yeah, no, that's true. Let's see. Joshua, speaking of Gio on the power play, is it just my imagination, or did the short stretch of lethal power play coincide with Gio being out with COVID?
I mean, he's not wrong. That's certainly when it heated up, and then it stayed hot a little while afterwards.
Yeah, it did.
In the stretch, it was.
But I think that was.
Mightily.
Yeah, I think the kickstart kind of came when he was out with COVID. So that's an interesting observation there, Joshua.
Yeah, it did coincide with Johansson coming back, so I won't put everything on Gio, but yes, it's certainly a combination of those two things woke it.
Yeah. Gio show. We should be selling that cap space. That could break up the trade logjam. Yeah, I mean, as far as like cap space, I want to see Ron Francis make more cap motivated deals while he's in a good position.
I agree. There's no reason not to try to weaponize that come trade deadline. Whether or not you're selling somebody directly or not, like go ahead and be an intermediary, eat up some cap for somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Ty, speaking of merch, do you know the differences between the shirts? Which ones are good? So yeah, I know because we've ordered some samples. You've seen we have some of the shirts for ourselves. I believe Dylan, the ones that you have that you've been wearing, like the Turbo Garage, the Geeky Squad, is that just the classic T-shirt that you have?
Yeah, those are classic. The first ECH shirts I got, I think, were the comfort ones, and then these other ones have been classic. Really, the only difference between them is like a softness kind of, or really a lightness factor. The comfort ones are maybe a little bit lighter, but I think the comfort tee, the regular tees, the classics, are still very, very comfortable. It's nice and soft, just a little bit more weight to it.
Yeah, agreed. And I think I got one that's also the tri-blend, and I got that. And that's definitely the lightest, I think, of all of them. Or maybe the comfort's lighter, but it's definitely kind of a lighter. It's more of a stretchier type of feel as well. And then I can say this one that I'm wearing right now, the hoodie here. This is the premium hoodie, higher up of the two options. And I like this one. a little thinner than maybe some hoodies you get, but it's really comfortable and I like it. It fits me pretty well.
Yeah, and the other thing I guess I would say is, at least for me, it all felt pretty true to size, like as far as their fit and everything.
Yeah.
Post washings and whatnot.
Yeah, agreed. I think they've been pretty true to size, in my case as well. All right, Lindsay, good night, guys. Back at it again tomorrow night. Yep, back to back. So right back at it. Another chance to get a win.
And we get to see your Islanders, right?
Yes, finally we get to see the Islanders. I am looking forward to that. Yep. So, just hitting the 50-minute mark. I think we'll do last call for any questions, any comments. Yeah, we had a good one. I'm glad everyone was able to hear Dylan just fine. Glad this worked out. But I think I see the view count a little bit down today. I think obviously the game result had something to do with it, but I think most of all it's just people tuning in. They see, oh look, we don't see Dylan's beautiful face on the stream. I think that's probably what did it more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, no arguments from me there.
So I promise we will have Dylan's face back on post game very soon.
Yep.
I know you've all been missing it quite a bit. I know you're probably too shy to put that in chat or anything, but I can tell.
Yeah, it's also I think a lot of Seattle fans, right? Obviously, it's maybe a little bit harder to do it for these East Coast games as well. Just time-wise. Obviously, the games start maybe before you're even off work, and then you got to commute, you got to have dinner, spend any time you got to spend with your family. Mm-hmm. I say got to, as though it's like some terrible obligation you have, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, Brian says it's funny. He says, see you all tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow, Brian. Joshua agrees, definitely the no Dylan. See, I knew I was right. Absurdly Sane, been watching, just quiet. Thanks for another good post game. Thank you, Absurdly Sane, for joining us. JMG with one last question. We'll call this the last question of the night. When is your next viewing party on Patreon? Now, we haven't decided that yet. So it'll be for the February games, we're going to do 2. And I'm looking at the calendar, Dylan, because this is something that we need to discuss together, but let's just do it right now. Looking at the calendar, obviously, like not tomorrow. I think we might have had some plans around the Anaheim game as far as maybe you go, and we'll see. So that would leave the 17th as the first available one. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
So we'll decide. It'll be in the second half of the month, but we will let you know as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we were going to kind of use the All-Star break to get on the same page with that and do it.
Yep. So yep. And then cracking me up. Are you doing any streams for the skills competition? So one more question I'll take. So I'm hoping to be there covering it. So in that case, we probably wouldn't do a stream, but we'll get back to you certainly about our plans for that once we know a little more solidly.
Yeah, agreed. And hopefully you can get in there to do that because that would be fun.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Right back at it tomorrow when the Kraken play the Islanders, and we will see you then.